Okay, so we're going to go over the Align panel. So if you were just working on the transform options in the transform panel, you'll see that usually along with that in the other tab is the Align panel. If not, you can just go to Window and Align. So what the Align panel is going to do is it's going to, as it says, it's going to align objects along an axis point, and it can also distribute objects evenly along that axis point. So let's go and kind of see how this works. So my first set of objects are these orange shapes I have down over here. I'm going to go ahead and do a marquee selection on all of those shapes. So that's the first thing you do, is select all the shapes. And then I'll come up here into the Align panel. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to align all of these shapes into a nice straight horizontal line. So I'm going to kind of hover through, and you can kind of see with the icons what exactly they're going to do with your shapes. I think it's kind of counterintuitive how they named these. So I want to align these horizontally, but it says vertical align center. I feel like it would be better named if this was the vertical align center and if this one was the horizontal. But alas, I'm going to click the one that says vertical align center. And so what it did is it lined up the center point on all of these shapes along a similar axis. So that's the first thing the Align panel can do. The other thing it can do is it can distribute these objects evenly based on their center points along this axis point. So again, I'm going to come over to the horizontal distribute center and click once, and you can see that moved these shapes over. So if you were to put a center point on each one of these, they would be distributed evenly across that. I'm going to select those again, and I'm going to rotate them holding down on the shift key and click, and I'll show a few more options for working with this. So once again, we're going to select all of these black circles. Now one thing the Align panel doesn't show is some other options for aligning your objects. If you come over here to the options icon and click and go to show options, you can find we get a few more different things. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the align to option, and by default we are aligning to the selection. So the selection in this case is the bounding box. So I'm going to go ahead and align these down a vertical line. So look for this icon. And I'm going to go ahead and choose to use this option down here, distribute spacing. So I'm going to click on that, and so now it's putting these all spaced along the axis evenly, and that will be good for this selection. Let's go ahead and try this other one. So on this other one, I'm going to select all of the circles, including this square or this rectangle, and I'm going to choose align to this one, a key object. So after you do that, it's going to by default choose the last thing you selected as your key object. I could change that if I wanted to. So I could have one of these circles be my key object. I could have one of these other circles be my key object. But in this case, I want the square to be the key object. The key object is going to be what everything else is going to align to. So let's experiment and see what this can do. I want to align all of these with the center of my key object. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to try the vertical align center and see that it found that along this square or along this rectangle, its center axis, it aligned all the circles to that center. So after I'm done aligning it to that key object, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to align to selection. So I'm going to go ahead and click all of these circles, but not including the rectangle. I'm going to make sure that I have aligned to just this selection, and then I will distribute these across that selection. Alright, so one last way we can align our objects is to the artboard. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see exactly what this is doing. I'm going to go ahead and choose these circles here, and I'll change the color real quick so they're a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to choose align to artboard, and then I'm going to practice with just aligning along this horizontal axis, or it actually is a vertical axis. So I'll choose this one first. You can see it's aligning it to the left side of the artboard. I could click here. Now it's putting it directly down the center of the artboard, and then I could do here, down the right side of the artboard. If I choose to distribute these, okay, evenly along the vertical axis, and then I zoom out, you can see that it's put all of these circles along the right side of my artboard. So I'm going to go ahead and do Command Z on that, and I'll just move these back into the center, and I'll I'll choose back to align to selection, distribute the objects evenly, and I'm done.